to Let's Talk Books Unscripted. Welcome, episode 44. We're back for more books.
Yeah. We'll touch on what we're drinking, even though it's not all that interesting, but we save more of the chat about that for beer and books, because that's just another thing we enjoy besides books. But these are also enjoyable beverages. I love Olipop. I actually would really like to partner with them, so maybe I need to I gotta start tagging them a little bit more often. Yeah, I prefer Olipop over Poppy. Have you had either one of these before? Maybe I've asked you this in the past, but this one, it's very Christmassy. It's got like a Yeti on it, I think. This is their ginger ale. It's really, really good. I wanted to pour it over ice, but I feel like we've just been doing a lot of dishes lately, and it's like, I'm just going to drink it out of the can, and it's very tasty.
There you go. I'm having a San Pellegrino orange and pomegranate sparkling.
That one's I think that's my favorite flavor.
This is like the top shelf of sparkling waters.
It's a little spendier than just bubbly or LaCroix or any of the other ones that we get.
Italian sparkling drinks. It's a little more flavorful. And it's in a slim can.
Yes. It's very slimming. Classy looking.
Yeah, but it's very,
It's refreshing.
It's not as subtle as a flavor as a lot of the other ones.
You probably like it less than I do.
It's pretty good. Yeah, so we had a good weekend. We had an eventful day today.
Well, and
yesterday.
Yesterday morning.
We woke up and our water heater
went kaput.
Said goodbye.
Completely. It wasn't like where it needed a fix. It needed to be replaced
said goodbye
entirely.
So. It was actually 15 years old for water heaters, which is that's a long life for a water heater. So we were very lucky. We have really good water in our city. We have some of the best water in the state in our city we live in. So it really helps with our water heater. So it lasted just over 15 years. So we had to say goodbye.
It was towards the end of its life when we moved in here a couple years ago. But we obviously, it was nice to ride it out while it lasted. But it wasn't the most fun surprise to wake up to yesterday. But we still went about our day because it was a weekend. And we're not going to try to get somebody over here, because then you pay more money for the inconvenience of it being a weekend. But yeah, we got somebody over here super quickly today, and
got a new water heater.
Only had to deal with cold water for a little bit. We did shower at my mom's yesterday before church because we did not want to take freezing cold showers here. So she came in clutch for us. It's nice to have family and friends close by that we could have utilized this week if we ended up not getting somebody over here as quickly as we did. But
just doing adult stuff, new water heater.
Fun times. That's on the personal front.
So that was good. Other than that, we're doing good. We have some books to talk about. Could you believe it?
But also a very specific topic for tonight.
Yeah, if you've seen the title, we know what we're talking about. I know. I was making this face like this. It's icky.
And I was hiding.
It's icky. But so anyone who's tuning in, say hi. We'd love to say hi to you. And we'll get more interactive later with the things.
With things that just rub you the wrong way. Just like bookish in general, or something about a particular book or genre, or those kinds of things. We have a few of them. We each do.
Probably more than average. I mean, everyone's got their icks.
Yeah. But do we want to talk about our specific books first?
Of course.
What did you bring over?
Let's start with the book club.
I added mine to the pile.
We was going to talk about the book club right away.
Yep.
So we had I think 10 or 12 new people join our virtual book club.
Quite a few people yesterday.
In the last couple of days.
In our little chat that we have.
Katie did a post about this book here, The Banned Bookshop of Maggie Banks. We had a lot of people who joined into the book club. I think we're almost up to 65 people in our virtual book club, which is amazing.
Yeah, we don't ever have that many on when we actually meet virtually, because I know people have things going on, or they just like to chat in the little group thing that I have on Instagram, and just for whatever reason can't make it on for our meetings, but we still have a nice group that hops on when it's actually taking place.
Yeah, it's a good community. We talk books, we share, I don't know,
other
GIFs,
things
memes.
unrelated to the book we're reading, but mostly
Yeah.
bookish
But
related things.
We need to talk about books, and so we'll be reading this book for February. We'll be meeting on February 23rd, so there's still time to join in. This book should be pretty easy to find. I know someone mentioned it's $1.99 on Kindle.
Yeah, so if you have a Kindle, you can get it digitally that way.
It's a little older book, so you can probably find it around
the library or used. This was a used copy that I found at our favorite local used and new bookstore.
So we talked about this one, and we actually have selected a March book. We like to stay 2 months ahead so people have time to read them and to get the books.
Yes.
So
we have our March selection. This one you may not have heard of because it is by a local author to us, actually. So that's pretty fun. This is called Small Game by Blair Braverman. It had like a really quick blurb on the front. It says, gripping action in untamed nature, as if Wild and Into the Wild gave birth to this thriller. So if you're familiar with both of those or one of those books, I feel like this is going to be a crazy ride. And it's very, very short. I believe it's 270-ish pages. Propulsive and twisty, Small Game is a gripping thrill ride about human nature at its best and its worst. And then like a little bit about her that I found interesting, the author. Blair Braverman is the author of Welcome to the Goddamn Ice Cube. Haven't heard of that one. And Dogs on the Trail, a contributing editor to Outside Magazine and a contributor to the New York Times, Vogue, This American Life, and elsewhere. She lives in the Northwoods with her husband and their team of sled dogs. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is the one that got the most votes. Again, this one would probably be relatively easy to find as well, even though it's not like
I would imagine.
A well-known author. It did come out like 2022. So yeah, it's not a brand new book. You could go on bookshop.org and get it instead of Amazon, or you can compare your prices there or decide what you want to do. I got that in an indie bookstore. So I got mine in person, but because this is a local to us author, you may not be able to find it in one of your indie bookstores. So that's why I say maybe go on bookshop.org, because then you can still support an indie bookstore that way. If you can't, you could like plug in one of ours, like maybe a Wisconsin one, and your purchase would help them.
Yeah, Katie can give you a couple names of some of our bookstores.
Yeah, so that would
like
be
where
an
we got
option
this one.
if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, you could, maybe try to find it at your library too, or digitally. Or I think that actually is the one that they said is $1.99, not this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it's this one, actually,
Well, that'd be
that
good.
you could find on Kindle. So look it up on there if you have Kindle and you want to do it that way, or if you want a physical copy, go to bookshop.org or Amazon.
We did plan a date for March too. Do you got the date for March?
Let's see. I think March 16th
March
is what
16th.
sounds right to me.
So still time to join in either of these books. We'd love to have you. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Fun time. And we read some good books. Good discussion.
So good discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. This one sounds really good.
This feels like Survivor-esque to me.
It's very
If you ever watch the show Survivor, I mean, I used to watch it all the time. My family and I, it was like a thing we looked forward to.
So out of the 5 books we had as options, this was the clear winner. So obviously not everyone's kind of interested in reading it.
Yeah, that looks good. It has a really cool cover too. I don't know. I'm all about cool covers. Yeah. I don't remember what I was gonna say, but anyway, I've had a couple of those brain things today.
Brain farts.
Yes.
Brain legs.
It's where I'm I was thinking of it and then it got lost on me. So maybe I'll think of it before we're done talking here, and maybe I won't. But let's talk about our current reads. You only have one over here that you brought over here?
One new one.
About? Okay.
One
that you
yes.
started? Okay. I am still cruising through Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. That's really glary. Speaking of cool covers, I love this one, and the sprayed edges are really cool. So if you have a copy of this, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you even got the Target edition, which is, I don't know if it's necessarily cooler, but it only has, I think, one dragon up at the top, and then it's got some pages on the inside that like I think an artist did.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, some pretty cool illustrations, but I'm still happy with this copy. I literally just went over the 50% mark, and it just feels like I've been reading this for forever, even though I started it less than a week ago. So that's not bad for like a longer book, but yeah, it's just I need like dedicated time to get into it more. I feel like
You gotta crank that out.
we've just been busy, or like I've been too tired to stay up as late as I normally do. So yeah, I'm hoping to make some more headway in it tonight and can maybe finish it up tomorrow or the next day. That's my plan. I'll have it done before the end of the month for sure. It's just a matter of how soon that will be. Yeah.
That's only 4 days away.
I know. I'm confident.
Can you grab the book over there?
This.
Yeah. So I'm still working on this one. I won't talk about that, but I was going to focus on this book, but I actually started another book. I just couldn't help myself.
He's becoming like me.
Well, I wanted to start another book. But the book I started is this one, Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This is the one I picked up pretty recently from, I think, the same indie bookstore we were talking about earlier. And I don't know, I found his other book that just came out. It's called Entitlement. And I was really, really fascinated in that book. And I do regret not buying it because it was a signed first edition. But that's besides the point. But I looked back, I'm like, so this was probably his more well-known book. So I wanted to read this one first just to kind of get a glimpse of his writing. Right off the bat, I will need to get used to his writing style. I think the word to describe it, it's very intellectual. I mean, maybe just for me, because I'm not very intellectual. But there's a lot of big words. It's just I just need to get used to the rhythm and to his style of writing. But the story is awesome. It's going to be excellent. It reminds me very much of the book we just read for book club recently, We Used to Live Here. It has a similar concept to that. So I'm very excited because I love that book. So I just started this book a couple of chapters in, but I'm hoping I really like it once I get used to the style of writing. But this is, I believe someone told me this is a series or a movie. There's a series or a movie.
I think I heard that there's a movie
or
a show.
Which, I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, is that what you're saying? A TV series?
A TV series
or a movie? Oh, I thought you meant
movie.
like that the book was part of a book
No.
series. Oh, I was like, because I didn't hear that.
Whoever,
Okay.
if someone's on here, just remember, someone said that this was maybe a series or a movie. But so that'd be awesome. I think that'd be excellent. So
Cool.
check that one out if you ever read it.
And then the couple other ones I brought over. I am reading a couple things.
Movie on Netflix.
Movie on Netflix.
Thanks,
Okay.
Liz.
Okay.
See, I needed help.
Yes, I know somebody had, and maybe it was you before who said that. Yeah, Netflix movie, awesome. I did not bring my Kindle over here, but I have a couple different things that I'm reading on there. But this is an arc that published a couple weeks ago, I want to say now, and I really wanted to have it read by pub date, but I'm still gonna really, advertise this one a lot. I know it's still beneficial to authors to, be doing that in the couple weeks following a pub date. And I believe this is a debut as well. This is by Kat McKenzie. It's called Work in Progress. Our main character likes to travel, so she meets this gentleman here on her trip, and he is the handsome tour guide.
Of course he
but
is.
they start to get on each other's nerves. So this is an enemies to lovers romance. The banter is very funny. I am not even 200 pages in yet, but again, it's not because I'm not enjoying it. It's just Onyx Storm showed up, and then I'm reading too many things at the same time. So I really need to, set aside time to get further in this one as well. And the chapters are like in between, like where they're not as short as I'd prefer. So that's probably part of my beef with it, which we will touch more on as we keep going with this episode. But it is a cute story, and I'm invested in it. I'm not gonna not finish it. I obviously just wish I would have already finished it, but we're still going with that one. And then I have The Night Circus, which I am barely into. This is by Erin Morgenstern. Glossy cover there too. Blair, sorry. But this one I am doing as a buddy read with my friend Amy on Instagram, and I don't know how far along she is, but the last time we touched base, we were both like, oh, we're going to be reading Onyx Storm. So let's talk about that one too,
Okay.
along with like everybody else who's, or you know, not everybody's reading Onyx Storm, but a lot of people are. But yeah, I am barely into this. And it's to the point where I'm already going to probably have to go back to the beginning and just start over because it was,
You forgot
I don't
already.
even know how many weeks ago at this point that I started this
Yeah, it's
and
too
didn't
long.
get very far. And this one is like kind of long. It's over 500 pages actually. It's funny because since this is a paperback, when I like compare it to Onyx Storm, which I was just holding, it doesn't seem like it's as thick or long, but they're about the same length. Onyx Storm is like 515
It's deceiving. It's deceivingly long.
pages, and this one's pretty much the same. So yeah, I'm excited to go back and start this one over once I'm no longer reading a different fantasy book. I mean, that's technically romantasy, Onyx Storm, but it's very fantasy. I mean, we're in a dragon world and there's like all these names and continuing to world build because this is a 5-book series, I believe. And then this is fantasy and historical fiction. So I can't really handle both at the same time. So yeah, like I said, I'll have to go back and restart this one because I'm only 24 pages in. So I'll backtrack. Have to remind myself of what happened at the beginning of the book.
That'll happen. That's what happens when you start too many books.
Mm-hmm.
If you read too many books, you can't focus on all of them at once.
It does get to be too difficult sometimes.
It's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I started on new books. I needed a new book,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost want to start another new book because
Yeah, it's addicting to do that.
I know I was just saying, like, starting books is amazing. Finishing books
It has been rough for me lately.
Sometimes it's more difficult because like starting, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know, but it's like you get like a rush from starting one, but then you also get a rush when you finish a book.
It's true.
Too. It's like a
maybe it's the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The middle part, which is hard.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, we're gonna go through that quick. Those are our current reads so far as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Next episode, we can probably go over some of our hopefuls for February.
Yeah.
I know we'll probably talk about them on Friday during our beer and books
'cause
episode.
that'll be literally the day before
So
we start
we kind
a
of
new month.
we gotta plan
January
out our
has been a long month.
February hopefuls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of have like them in my head as of now, pretty much. But
It could change
the
tomorrow.
unfortunate part of that I made so many hopefuls for January is that, of course, there is no way that I'm going to finish every single one of those in the next few days. My primary focus is Onyx Storm, which was on my hopefuls though, so I will have another one to cross off on there. It's just that then, yes, it'll be a doneful. But then there are a couple that will be continuing with me into February, which makes me not want to pick as many books on top of that for February. But I still have like quite a few in my head that I like really want to read. So we'll see. Some of them I might have to shove into March.
They can just carry over.
Exactly.
Just
They all carry
trickle
over. Yep.
So now's the time. We are going to talk about our bookish icks. If you know what we're talking about, do you have any bookish icks?
Something that comes to mind for you right away.
Yeah, if there's something, feel free to comment at any time.
Yeah.
If you agree with our bookish icks, or if you have your
different.
own bookish icks.
Or if you disagree with ours too.
That's fine.
We can have,
we can
pleasant
disagree.
Conversation about it still.
Yeah, like what are the things there about books or reading or the reading community that you're like, icky?
Yeah.
So our first one we'll go over, I think, is pretty obvious. I think we'll say it at the same time.
Okay, hopefully we're saying
Are
the
you
same
ready?
one.
1, 2, 3.
Long chapters.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Good.
I know.
Well, because that was going to be a segue into this.
So
when I talked about that.
Long chapters, but here's a question for you. What do you consider to be a long chapter? How many pages? How many pages is a long chapter? Because it's probably different for everybody.
For me, once it gets to be over 10 pages, it's long for me. I would say I prefer anything that is 10 pages or less. And once it's more than 10, I'm like, wah, wah.
Yeah, I was thinking like 8 pages.
Yeah, yours is probably even less than mine. I give it 10, and I'm like, that feels doable to me. but I still would not consider that a short chapter.
8 to 10.
I don't think that's short, but I also don't feel like it's too long.
Liz said 10 plus.
Yeah, 10 plus, then it's too long. Yep.
That's yeah. I mean, like a sweet spot's like 4 or 5 pages. That's like the perfect chapter.
Yeah.
3 to 5 pages.
Or you get All the Colors of the Dark, whoever's read that book, and you sometimes get half of a page.
Half a page.
Or like a page and a half. Maybe 2 to 3 pages, but like...
Yeah.
I think I told him like the longest chapter in that book, I think, was like 4 pages. Like, not even kidding.
That's crazy. Well, there was like 300
So that was
plus
glorious,
chapters.
but it was also an incredibly long book. But the chapters were nice and short.
Yeah, so if we're like looking at books to buy and we're flipping through, it's like, oh, it's got a lot of long chapters. That might be
still my funniest.
That might be a turnoff.
My funniest moment was when I did read the whole thing, but it was a slow one for me, and I should have brought the book down, but I wouldn't have sat here the whole time flipping to show you guys. I mean, for dramatic effect, maybe it would have been funny. But I did do that when I got it in the mail. What's the name of it now? It's that one that I got from Aardvark, and I love Aardvark so much, but I should have brought it down here. I Was a Teenage Slasher. There we go.
That's the one.
See, I'm having like brain issues today. I'm tired.
You're having the fog.
Apparently not enough caffeine today. I'm trying to actually decrease my caffeine intake, so maybe it's just not going well for me. A chapter shouldn't be over 5 pages. There you go. Oh, it's not a big deal to you.
Paragraph break.
Okay. Sure.
See,
yep, that works.
Similar concept though. Similar concept.
And that is actually what happened in the book that I'm talking about right now. He didn't have I think it still was broken into chapters, but it was just a really interesting format. So I struggled with that. But yeah, I Was a Teenage Slasher is what that one was called. And what is his, and then what's the author's name?
Stephen
I want to make
Jones.
sure I was like getting part of it. Stephen Graham Jones, that's the only book I've read by him. He actually has quite a few books. A lot of time jumps in a book. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind it if it's like very clear cut, like if it's...
Yeah, it has to be...
It has to be very like, exactly when the time is changing and who the narrator is and all that.
You got dual multiple perspectives and
I
time
hear you.
hopping.
That can be a tough one.
For real.
But yeah, with this book, I Was a Teenage Slasher. I really, really wanted to like it. And when it came in the mail, I started flipping through the first chapter. And I'm not even kidding you. I just kept flipping and flipping and flipping. And I said to Corey, I'm like, this first chapter is 60 pages. I'm like 60, not 16.
Yeah.
60. And that was just so hard for me. I feel like in my head, I could not. It's almost like it was something that just made it hard for me to even want to pick up the book. Because for me, it drives me. So here's I guess you could call it an ick, or just something that drives me crazy, is having to stop reading in the middle of a chapter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because Meg mentioned that.
So
that's why short chapters are good.
Yes. And so I'm like, if I only have like a short-ish amount of time to read, especially during the day, like when I stay home with my youngest, I do get like little chunks of time here and there, but clearly she's my priority, or I'm trying to do chores or whatever. So like I can't just sit around and read all day. That'd be great, but that's not realistic. And so if I get like a 20-minute chunk of time, for example, a 60-page chapter, yeah, I'm a fast reader, but no, I cannot read that in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So like I think it was just really hard for me to get past that.
With cliffhangers. Sometimes easier to stop.
Oh, sure. Okay. I can see that. The only time I literally will stop is if I cannot keep my eyes open and I'm falling asleep at night. And I just can't.
But you should probably, at that point, just go back to the beginning of the chapter. Because you
don't
don't remember what you were reading.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. When you're like busy and you only can read like small parts at a time, that's why like a short chapter is perfect. It's like, sit down, 10 minutes, read a chapter, 2 chapters.
There you go. Yep. You get a little further in your book. Yep.
Unless you have like a good chunk of time, like an hour or so to read.
Yeah.
But so that one's an obvious one.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot.
What else you got? I know. I think it's just clear. If you know good books with short chapters, we're all ears.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we look for when book shopping.
Yeah, we literally.
It's like how long are
not that you want to like base whether a book is going to be good on that or not. Because I don't want to write off books just because they have slightly longer chapters, and I have read books that have longer chapters, but and that I have enjoyed. Like actually it was one that I did read this month, What Happened to the McCraes. I'm like obsessed with that book. And it did have slightly long-ish chapters, but I think because I was so immersed in the story, I didn't care. So I do have some exceptions where like it didn't bother me as much. I don't know. Just like the flow was really good in the book, and I was just so immersed in it that I was like, okay, I can deal with it.
Sure. What's your next one?
My next one, because I talked about it not right before we came on, but not long before we came on, because I was trying to think about what I would say. And one of mine is not about a book itself, but about people giving negative reviews on social media, not on Goodreads. Obviously, I think like that's okay.
All right, thank you. Carly? Yeah, I like that.
Carly?
Yeah.
Is that what she said? Carly?
We need a pronunciation.
Yes, let us know so we're not saying your name wrong.
Carly, yes.
But yeah, for me, it's when I see a negative review and the person tags the author in it. So no, I'm not saying don't ever share your honest thoughts.
You gotta go ew when she says the ick.
But people do that, and it's like
horrible.
just don't. Like, and so again, I'm not saying don't share your honest thoughts at all, or definitely share them on Goodreads, because that's more of a consumer reader platform. I do know some authors are on there, but I've also heard a ton of authors say they do not go on there, and it's like, why would you want to? I wouldn't want to. It's not really meant for authors. It's meant Carolee. Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good pronunciation. Yes.
But yeah, like save your your negative opinions for Goodreads for sure, because that is a place where you do want people to see that, and maybe they would appreciate that review and they might skip that book, like if they trust your opinion and stuff. But and like, yeah, you can put your honest thoughts on Instagram or wherever, but don't tag the author. Don't tag the author. Because like, yeah, there's been books I've really not preferred either, but that was a book that somebody put their heart and soul into, and it's like their baby, and like, just no. Yeah, I feel like if it's in my mind, if I'm going to give a book fewer than 4 stars, and I actually don't put star ratings in my reviews on social media anymore. I just use a certain verbiage. So for me, a 3-star would translate to I liked this book. But if I'm going to say I liked this book on my review, even though it doesn't say 3 stars, but in my mind that's what I gave it, then I don't tag the author. If I, at the end of my review, say I really enjoyed this book, I will tag them. And that to me is like a 4, 4.5.
Yeah.
And then 5-star obviously is I loved this book and I'm recommending it to everyone. Those are reviews that I will tag an author in. But I don't know. I just found it interesting because I connect with so many authors personally, back and forth with people. And one person, I don't think she said it to me, so I don't know if I just saw it in her stories, or I don't know where I saw it. But it was just an interesting perspective then to gain as a reader and not an author, but to see it from their perspective. As she said, even if somebody gives me a mostly good review, if they say even one tiny negative thing, that is the thing that I focus on. So like if somebody goes, I really loved this book, but, and then whatever they say after that, that's what that author focuses on. And so I feel like if you're going to say anything that's not positive, even if you don't think it's that bad, maybe just don't tag the author. Yeah.
It's true.
Because I even had a moment recently when I reviewed our most recent virtual book club one, the last one at the wedding. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I hope it was okay that I did tag him, because I did a video, a reel review for that one. I've kind of been going back and forth lately, and just kind of whatever my mood is dictating at the moment of whether I want to do a static post or do a video. Yeah. And I said, I did say that it started slow for me, but then that's not bad. But I still didn't think that was overly negative. So I'm I hope I didn't offend him. Otherwise, I gave a really good review after that. And I made sure to say, but it is just a slower paced book. And I said, but it was really well written, and but it's just something I even like checked myself on, because I've just definitely seen plenty of people put those. So that's icky for me.
Yeah, that's probably bad. That's bad form. If you're gonna tag the author intentionally for a bad review,
it better be a really good review.
Because the truth of the matter is, a ton of people love that book. There's 100 people who probably love that book, and then there's you who didn't love it. And unfortunately, the author is going to remember your review the most
over all of the good ones. Yeah.
And that just,
Something to
don't
think about.
don't involve the author in your dislike of their book, because tons of people love the book.
Right.
Not every person can love a book. That'd be impossible.
Yep.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Even some of the best books ever written, there are people
not everybody loves it.
who are not gonna love the book.
Yeah. It's just how it goes.
And I feel like I'm a very, very generous reviewer, because I know for a fact I could never in my lifetime write a book. And if I wrote a book,
Quite an accomplishment.
it would be all bad reviews. So I would look at the one positive review that was probably be from my wife. She's like, it started off slow, but I'm married to him, so like 3.5 stars out of 12. So
yeah, that one I had to throw out there. All right, your turn.
let's get on. So one for me that it hasn't come up a lot in my reading, mostly because I haven't read a ton of books yet, but there has been a couple instances, is when you don't like one of the main characters. All right, so you're reading a book and like you cannot stand one of the main characters. Either they're the narrator, or it's from their perspective, or they're just like one of the main love interests in a rom-com, and you just cannot stand them.
Well, yeah.
They're either annoying, they're just not likable, they're arrogant. And
yeah, it's hard to keep reading.
it makes it very hard, especially when the other main character is very, very likable. Like the Grumpy Sunshine.
Yes. But that's the trope.
I know.
So it's almost like then that would just have to be not your taste.
But it's not always that trope either, though. It's just like,
yeah, that's true. Just in any book, not necessarily a rom-com, but it reminds me of the Empyrean series that I am reading right now, that I obviously still liked the second book enough to be excited for Onyx Storm, but I loved Fourth Wing. It like exceeded my expectations because I had never read a romantasy in general. So I loved it. Like I loved it more than I even thought I would. And so I was excited for Iron Flame. And Iron Flame fell flat for me for sure. I still gave it a solid 4 stars, and I think that was the case for a lot of people. So I think it was hard for her to follow up Fourth Wing because it did so well and people loved it and received it so well. So that would be really hard. So again, trying to give authors credit, that's hard to do. Like your second book, I feel like a lot of authors have said that that's like the pressure is on to perform as well as like their first book went, and sometimes they perform better. People like the sophomore book more, but in this case I did not, and one of those reasons being is the main character Violet. So if you read this series, you'll know what I'm talking about, and I think I even told you a little bit when I was reading Iron Flame how much I could not stand her. I'm like, she is the biggest baby whiner I've ever met in my life, and I'm just like, I wanted her to shut up. Like it was just it was driving me bonkers in Iron Flame. I will say, if you've not started Onyx Storm yet, or you're maybe not super far into it, or maybe you will agree with me if you're as far or you finished, she's not bothering me as like she was in the second book. So that's a good thing. That's a positive change. But I was just like, oh my gosh, for the love. Like, I couldn't do it in the second book. But again, I was committed at that point and I kept reading. Yeah. But it does kind of make your experience, I don't know, a little less enjoyable. I'll say that.
And one of the things, like, you get a character you don't like, all right? But you're like, you keep reading because you want to see them, like, become a better character.
Change, yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's like, I got to keep going because I hope they be turned into a better person.
It's like, is there hope for them, maybe?
But, yeah.
And then maybe not. They don't change.
I don't know if anyone's had the same issue as me, but
yeah, if there's a specific book that comes to mind
with any of these Icks, let us know a specific book
where like a character drove you crazy, or yeah,
but it's like if you love both the characters in a book, it's just the dream.
All right, my next Ick I guess I can rope it into just like two different things that are said in rom-coms specifically. And it was all over the place in a particular book that I read in December. Maybe this is a time where I won't say the book title because I don't want to hate on it. And I actually really enjoyed the book. I think I gave it like 4.5 stars or something like that. So it was a very good book. But I cringed. Like, I feel like I physically cringed, like made a face every time it was said in this book. And so the main male character called the female character sweetheart. I just don't like it. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe some people don't mind, but I don't like it. So I rolled my eyes quite a lot for that term. And then, good girl, like, and that's normally in like an intimacy scene, which, some of those are definitely too much for me and I skip right over them. But yeah, I don't like it. Like some of the language that is used in those particular scenes in a romance or just in general in a romance, I'm like, no, thank you.
No, thank
so
you.
that's what I'm sharing on that front. I don't know. What about you? If there are any romance or rom-com readers, let me know if that's something that bugs you, or maybe you just don't care. Or if there's a different term that you can think of that, like, they call each other that is annoying. Yeah. What about you? What's your next one? What do you got?
I think we talked about it last week a little bit. This is more like specifically with books that you buy from stores where they put stickers on the books. All right, like they put like their, I don't know, like the store sticker on there, especially the stickers that are on books that they're not stickers, they're just like an emblem and you can't get them off. Like I know like this one, like the Read with Jenna, like, I don't know, like it's cool it's on there, like it's good to know, but it also is taking away from the cover of the book a little bit. You know? But yeah, the worst is like there's a physical sticker on it, and they're hard to get out. And one thing too, when you're shopping at used book sales, used bookstores, used book sales, where the price sticker is hard to get off, right? Like,
right, because that's been on there for
like
like
you're
a really long
you're
time.
scratching on it, you can't get it off, and then it leaves like a sticky residue on the book. And it's like, stickers are so annoying.
They really are. They really are.
Yeah, like and if
No, but even the ones, the non-stick, yes, exactly.
the non-stickers, agree.
Yes. Okay, and so for Target, I love Target, but when they have like a special edition or something and it says like Target edition, or I don't know, like one of the books that I can think of right now that I own that has that and you cannot remove it, is one of my Abby Jimenez books. And I'm just like, okay, really? Like I don't want to Target,
Yeah, like
emblem or whatever.
I know
the heck
this.
You call that.
I know this one is one that Katie always points out.
Yeah, it's super obnoxious.
Yeah,
I wanted him to pick up a different copy of the same book actually because it was more attractive at our favorite bookstore.
She's like, you should
you should just get the other one and put this one in a little free library.
Is it
or
really
something,
that important to me? But yes,
I don't
is.
like it. That's obnoxious.
Yeah, this limited time only, but.
A non-sticker, for the third book. Ugh. Ick. Yep,
Yeah,
seems like a lot of you agree. But I would say though, so even though like Aardvark, for example, they have their mark, on there. But I feel like they do it very tastefully and it doesn't bother me. Like the one you just showed.
And what's
or
nice
like
about Aardvark too
Target
is
thing right there on the top.
And Aardvark does not put it on their binding.
Yeah, they don't have it on the binding.
Which I think is that's awesome because that's
which is nice.
Usually what you see when you're looking.
Yeah, when it's on your shelf. Oh, yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I
do not like
normally love the movie cover if I can avoid it. I did, however, buy don't hate me, anybody who does not like Colleen Hoover, but I have liked every book I've read by her so far. I've not read everything she's written, but what I've read by her so far, I've enjoyed. And I am an It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us fan. I will say that. So when I saw the movie edition of the book come out with Blake Lively, and I love her, I just think she's gorgeous. And it's just like a really pretty cover.
Yeah.
I admit I got that, like for the sake of just having it on my shelf. I am going to probably physically read it sometime this year. I'd like to reread it. So, yeah. But yes, I have if another writes a romance book, the guy in the story shouldn't be a total jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like, you know, but you know, she can change him, right? Let's hope.
Say that's always, you know, the plan or the goal
She
or
can
the hope,
change him,
but
and
no,
he'll come
doesn't always
he'll
happen.
come around.
But only if somebody really wants to change.
It's true. That's just a tale as old as time, you know. The nice girl meets the bad boy.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the other way around. I've actually probably read more books, I'm not even kidding you, more books where the woman is the, like, venomous one who is, like, really mean to the guy. And I can't stand that either. Where I'm just like, stop being annoying. Like, no.
But then they fall in love and she changes, right, for the better.
Yeah. But it's still not my favorite, like my favorite trope or...
No.
I don't know. Because, I feel like, that would fall into, like, that grumpy sunshine trope. And I would say I don't really read a ton of those. Because I guess then how that one differs from enemies to lovers is typically both of them are kind of childish and mean to each other in an enemies to lovers one. You know, they both need to grow up and, like, stop being so mean to each other. But it does, to be honest, create for, like, an entertaining read sometimes. Like, the banter back and forth, if it's well written.
Yeah.
But typically, those aren't my favorite. I'm a sucker for friends to lovers for sure. And lately, like, second chance romance is, you know, a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So say no to the stickers. Everyone should say no. What do you got?
I don't know. I feel like, what else have we really talked about? The biggest one for me is definitely those darn long chapters.
Oh, no secret. What about long books?
Long books.
I know we've discussed this a little bit. What is...
That's probably...
Here's the question. Here's the question. I think it's a good question. When a book series is... Oh, that is the worst. Or when you buy... when you buy a series, you're right, and... Where they go out of their way to tick off.
Where it's like a bunch of the tropes all in one? Yeah,
you gotta choose a trope. Just choose a trope.
Yeah. I think going along with that would be an ick for me too, is in a book in general, not just specific to the romance category.
All in one book.
Yeah, like where I feel like, so I don't know if that's what you're meaning, or if you were tagging onto what was said before about a romance book, but for me it's when the author tries to put too many genres in one book. Like, I feel like it's okay if they do it well, like if it's a genre bending book. Correct. But one of the books that my in-person book club and I read this past summer, I want to say I gave it like 3 to 3.5 stars. So it wasn't like a book that I hated. I obviously liked it enough to keep reading it, but I was still just like, what is happening here? It was just like all over the place. I'm like, this author honestly couldn't decide what genre she actually wanted to write. And so she just threw a bunch of stuff in the book and, like, hoped that it would go well. And I just feel like it was kind of all over the place and not, like, super cohesive. Like, it's almost like I could tell what she was trying to do and it seemed like it could work.
Yeah.
But it just felt a little disjointed to me, and I didn't know which genre to attach to more. Yeah. Where I was almost like, well, she threw in some romance, but then it, like, that wasn't the whole story. So then you felt underwhelmed, or you didn't get as much as you wanted from that. And then there was this mystery aspect where I'm just like, okay, is it going in that direction? And, like, yes, it kind of left me feeling frustrated. Yep. So that would be an ick for me, is where it's just like, maybe just stick to the one you know the best, or like that you feel like you write the best, instead of trying to do all of them in the same book. Yeah. And sometimes it works well. Like, it has to be done well. Yeah. But,
I want to go back to the previous thing about having all the books in a series match. Because that is one thing that we're both kind of like to keep with. Like, let's say you have like a series of 4 books. You can't have like half paperback, half hardcover.
I do that though.
I know, but you don't like it.
I don't love it.
Or like, if you get a book from a certain subscription and then you want to get them all from the same subscription.
Like, I was actually really devastated. So this would explain my predicament here, is that Aardvark did not get a book by the same author that they got, like, so it wasn't like just this past November, but the November before. It was a Sophie Cousins book. I don't know if you read anything by her, but she's phenomenal. And they had her book, The Good Part, in November of 2023. And that was one of my top reads of the entire year. So then when I found out that she was coming out with a new book, last year, which I still have yet to read, by the way, it should have been like a book I instantly picked up because I loved The Good Part so much. But that is one that I actually do plan to put on my February TBR because I've had it on my shelf now for too long. But instead of Aardvark getting it, Book of the Month got it. And so, your Harry Potter series.
Yeah. Ours is too.
Ours is very mismatched and weird because I've been finding them used. And so I only need like the last book now, maybe. I might only need like one or two more books in the series. So they're all kind of like a hodgepodge. With Corey's blessing, I would love to get like
the hardcover box
set.
A
new box set of them because I don't know. And it would be like, we'd be committing to that financially for sure. It would be an investment. And I think what makes me nervous about that, your Hunger Games series. Okay. Yep. It's got a hodgepodge of them. With the Harry Potter series, I don't know with all certainty that my kids are going to love those books, you know? So it's like, if I could like predict that my kids would absolutely fall in love with them, then I would want those for our home. Like, I think that would be valuable to have like a nice
if they
collection.
Start getting into them. Yeah,
if they start getting into them, like, and we're just kind of reading the ones I have, like, which they're kind of dinged up used copies that I've just found, you know, in places.
Wait, one of them is like a really nice hardcover.
Yes, only one, and it's very it's like,
I don't know where we scored that one, but it was a good score.
I'm trying to think where I got that recently.
But
yeah, it would be cool to invest in a nice collection of those.
It would be.
At some point, but we'll have to see if our kids, you know, start to like them.
Front cover and they're hard to get out.
Yes, that's the word.
We're actually getting an Ollie's in our area, which is pretty cool. Ollie's
What's
outlet.
Ollie's?
It's like an outlet store.
Oh.
Pretty well known. So we don't think we ever had one even near us. We're getting one in one of our neighboring cities, which is pretty cool. That's good to know. They got books there.
All right.
You can find books everywhere.
They have books at Costco. They have books.
Menards.
Menards.
You've seen our reel about Menards, where I found the book section.
Yeah, it's not the best selection ever, but you know, they do have books.
Yeah. So my next question is, everyone answer it. If you could choose, what is the perfect length of a book? How many pages? Like, what's the sweet spot?
Chapters.
Yeah. What is your sweet spot for length of books? Like, how many pages would you say? You can go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Let's see. I would say that I appreciate a book that is anywhere between 300 and 400.
Meg said 290. Oh, I wanted an all UK edition. Someone gives me 7th in the American.
Oh, no.
Does it drive you crazy? You know, they don't match.
Okay, so there was a 290.
290. That's good. Yeah.
300 to 350.
Yeah.
That's probably, I would say, if I had to narrow it down, it'd probably be more than that. Or I mean, about that.
560.
560.
Wow.
Good for you.
That's
good for
impressive.
You. That's when I start like sweating a little bit. I would say if anything is above the 500 mark for sure, I'm like, that is verging on too long for me. But I will do it. I mean, the book I'm currently reading right now is over 500 pages, but that's not my typical jam. Yeah, you're...
300. Yeah,
300.
That's close. I think a lot of the books that I've really liked have been about 320. I think that's perfect. If you got about 320 pages, shortish chapters, like we're a match made in heaven.
Lately, I've been excited though about those ones that come in under 300. I'm like, oh man,
like
I bang that out real quick.
I'm reading like 2 shorties right now. It's like
easy.
I don't know. It's like, do you feel better if you read like multiple short books or like? I mean, if you're looking for quantity, I guess.
Wish I had the one over here that's like, I don't even know what it is, but I do think it's considered a novella because it's even under 200 pages. That one called The Most that I just picked up recently. That one's really teeny tiny. But
yeah. So it sounds like,
but that's a novella.
It sounds like 290 to 350. That is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Because I guess when I gave a bigger range originally. I said anywhere between 300 and 400, but...
Audiobooks are helpful.
Yes, audiobooks are helpful when it's a longer one. That's very true.
It doesn't, because you don't really,
but it is funny when you look to see how many hours it is, though, because then you're like, okay, yep, that's long. Like,
One more question, because Katie, this one drives me crazy with Katie. What speed do you listen to your audiobooks at? When it's short, I feel sad. It's done too. Yeah,
Oh,
that
it's
is
done
true.
too
If
soon.
it's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
And like obviously a long book can feel short too, especially if you
you're really
really
enjoying
like it.
Mhm.
It can feel short.
Yeah.
But yeah, what speed? If you listen to audiobooks, what speed do you listen to them at? I listened to one audiobook, and I think the highest I could go was like 1.2. Yes,
Okay,
Liz,
there you go.
exactly right when I said that. 1.2. I thought that was for
Probably
me.
don't want to know what I listen to mine.
Let everyone else answer first. A romance book shouldn't. Yes, that's
yeah, that's true.
spot on.
A romance
Someone was
book
just
for
talking
sure.
about that.
1.5 to 2. Okay, so you have a
like,
range.
pretty good.
I guess I technically have a range too, depending on the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say lately I've almost always been able to listen to them at 2 times speed.
2 times.
Mm-hmm. I've even gone above that when I've actually been trying to finish it faster because it's gonna like return to the library, for example. Because I mostly get them. Hi,
Maria.
from the library.
I just started audio. I listened at 1.25.
Okay.
See, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, you guys are all normal people.
You two switched places on me. Made you guys. Hi, Maria. Yes. Glad you made it. Did we switch places?
No. Unless like her view has been different. Your brain can't handle any faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because I am a fast talker in general that I can keep up with. Oh, the video is mirrored. Okay. Yeah, I'm a fast talker, so I can handle other fast talkers. I don't know. Like I can keep up.
I love
a British narrator.
Yeah. 1.5.
But yeah, I've cranked it up to 2.25 or 2.5 maybe on like on one of them. But no, I wouldn't be able to sustain that regularly. But I would say for me, there's some that I have to do like 1.75. But I would say I pretty much don't go below that. And I've just gotten used to it.
Yeah. Like she'll be listening to audiobook. I go upstairs.
He's like,
I'm like,
what chipmunk are you listening to this time?
It's like 2 squirrels fighting up here. You know?
Like, I can understand it just fine. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So my ick would be listening to it at 1 speed because I'd be like, oh my gosh, let's get through it. Like, it's almost like I can't. Like,
yeah.
Oh my word. Like when I got one on Libby recently for my son. He wanted to listen to the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. So I've only have the first one in the series. And because he knows I listen to audiobooks and stuff, and sometimes I'm like, what are you listening to, Mom? And sometimes I have to like have an AirPod in, depending on what I'm listening to, or I'm like, oh, this isn't for your ears. But sometimes I have it just like out on my phone, like in my kids will catch whatever it is I'm listening to. And so it was really sweet that he like wanted to be like me, do what I was doing. And he was like, Mom, could you find the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book on there? And I'm like, I probably could.
Keep up at 1.
That's funny.
Where's this slowing down after you speed up? Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm like, oh no, I can't handle the slow. And so when I found that book for my son to listen to, I turned it on for him. And of course I could hear it too because I was like getting ready in the bathroom and I let him like have my phone on his dresser so that he could like play Legos while he was listening. And it was at 1 speed and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like torture. I'm like, but he obviously needed it at that slower rate so he could catch, what was being said. Because I think maybe I started it for him at like 1.25 and he was even saying like, no, Mom, it needs to be a little slower than that.
Yeah. I feel like if you can handle 1, you could do like 1.1, 1.2. And it's crazy how much faster you get through a book just by switching it like 0.1 or 0.2.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even just going up like a little bit.
Take like an hour off of the book just by, and your brain could probably process that, especially if you listen to like people talk fast a lot. If you're like,
you should be able to, hon. You listen to your wife talk fast all the time.
That's true, I do.
Maybe he could work his way up to well, you don't even really listen to audiobooks too much yet anyway.
But I can handle a 1 point, maybe 1.3 if I'm feeling fancy. or highly caffeinated.
Let's see, yeah, there's certain whatever thing you went through to get your audiobook last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some have those like little in-between notches, like you were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can slowly increase. That is a way to get used to it if you do it slowly.
That's true.
But no, on like Libby, for example, I don't know if anybody else uses Libby for audiobooks, but that's what I primarily use. And on there, you can't do any of those like in-between increments. So you were saying like 1.3, like Libby doesn't have that.
Oh,
so
really?
you'd have to go from like 1 to 1.25 to 1.5, then it jumps to 1.75, then it's 2, and then you can fine tune it from there.
I think I got dialed in like 1.2, and that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
All right, we have time for one more ick. Does anyone have an ick? Someone share their ick with us.
Share something that maybe we haven't
then we
talked
can discuss
about yet.
it briefly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I guess we don't have as many as we thought.
Yeah.
We just love books. It's hard to have icks with books because they're just so nice.
Yeah, I'd say not a whole lot bothers.
There is the one, I think that I just thought of it a little bit. When good authors go bad. Yeah. Like bad, their books get
like
bad.
They just get worse?
Or they get more
change,
spicy.
Yeah, change their writing style.
Yeah, one thing I just noticed that we don't like either is when the books have these like off.
Oh, that is one.
Grab that one too.
Yes,
Because they
this.
both. One thing we noticed.
Where it doesn't.
Oh, the person.
The person. Okay.
Mm.
But yeah, when this silly cover where it doesn't go all the way. I don't understand the purpose of that.
And it looks.
I talked about that on a different.
It looks
episode.
kind of. I mean, it's obviously for appearance. It looks good.
What? No, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
Oh, yeah. An awesome story, plot, characters, and a rushed ending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
That's an
I
ick.
know you put so much time into writing the book.
And then it's almost like they just can't wait to be done with the book, so they're
let out a breath. She didn't know she was whole. That is cheesy. These are good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're talking a lot about rom-coms, but one thing that we both can't handle is like when it takes them like forever to get together.
Yeah, why didn't I say that? That's an ick for sure. I should have said at
Like,
the beginning is a slow burn. I don't know.
I know, like,
but I can't handle slow burn anything, not just in romance.
Yeah,
like
a romance book should. That's perfect.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, you love the Night Circus. Yeah, I'm excited to.
I think everyone
restart
loves the Night
it
Circus.
and like give my attention more to it. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've heard really honestly nothing but good things. I don't think I've heard a negative thing about it.
I that's probably the book we've heard the most positive.
Well, I mean, somebody even like such high praise to hear somebody say that it's like their favorite book of all time.
And they read it like once a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
you gotta get chopping on that.
Do.
But there's been times where I'm reading. I haven't read many rom-coms recently, but I was at first.
He was in a little bit of a.
And like, yeah, it's a rom-com's not my god. Neither. Yeah, it's like
for sure.
I'll show Katie
It's
where
a
I'm
little
at in the
infuriating.
book. Like I'll say it's halfway or 60%. I'm like, they're still not together.
together.
And she just started dating someone else.
Yeah, the misconnections. Yes.
Yeah.
Or like the miscommunication trope.
Mhm.
It's like no, or a third act breakup where it's like they didn't need to actually break up.
Yeah.
It's like
I hate slow burn where you get anything.
yes,
Mm.
exactly. It's like the whole book is them just like beating around the bush, and then they're finally a couple like in the last like 20 pages of the book.
And they just keep
great, fantastic.
bumping into each other on accident. Like, oh, I didn't see you there again for the 20th time.
Yeah.
But then
That
100
is pretty
pages
annoying.
later,
Yeah.
well, you actually want to start dating soon.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like, there's the one that like they finally get together, but they don't, and then she starts dating someone else, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But now I have to finish it to see what happens.
Yeah.
And they get together, and then it's just over.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that was worth it.
But yeah, slow burn anything I have a hard time with, and especially when they use the word slow burn and thriller in the same sentence.
Misunderstandings,
Yes.
I hate it.
Like, I'm sorry, but a slow burn thriller that just
oxymoron?
doesn't make any sense to me. Because I'm like, what's thrilling about that then? When it's like slow, like let's get to the point here. Like
It depends, yeah. I think
I don't know.
I'm a lot more tolerant.
You're more patient with that, but
I am very tolerant of slower books as long as like the slow parts are important.
well, right. Maybe
And-
that's just it.
yeah.
Like, Yeah, right.
That'd be great.
Have
Yeah.
the breakup and then it ends as a breakup. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't need to end up together, right?
Oh, that too.
It does happen, right?
That's how a friend of mine would like all of them to go. I'm pretty
if
sure.
you're
She doesn't like happy endings.
if it's taking that long, maybe it's not meant to be. Like if there's no sparks flying. But they had like the enemies to lovers. I think that's probably the worst trope for me. Enemies to lovers.
Because you just kind of don't see the point.
And those
of it.
generally are very slow because they're just enemies
Right,
forever.
they're enemies for like most of the book.
And then like they finally be like, oh, I actually like you now that you yelled at me 115 times. But
no, but the thing we were saying about slow books is that like I think obviously if it is very well written and the character development is like incredible, like the one that I referenced earlier, which I really want to get Corey to read because it would be right up his alley.
Don't mind slow burn fantasy.
Okay, sure. That makes sense.
Correct, yeah.
What Happened to the McCraes by Tracy Lang. It's incredible, and it was definitely slower paced, and as I've shared with you guys and with Corey, I share with a lot that I can't stand slow. It just drives me crazy. But this particular book, I could handle it because she's just such an incredible author that I was just so immersed in the story and in the characters that I just didn't care. I just like lost myself in the world that she had created, and I didn't care that it was moving at like a slower pace.
Correct.
And I still made it through the book in like a fairly quick amount of time too because I just loved it so much, even though the pace was slower. So it maybe is just more dependent on the book for me too. I wouldn't say that like I can't handle any slow book whatsoever, but
I mean, I appreciate lots of character development. I mean, just so you get to know the characters, but also like if the development of the characters is important down the line. So like I'm pretty lenient with slower books. Katie's less lenient,
yes. But I do have some exceptions, where like I did
end up make exceptions.
I did end up liking it, or it didn't bother me as much. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's what we got.
Well, just some good icks. Started last. It got me already.
Okay.
Oh, I hate when the world has misspelled words. The book. I know we catch a ton of mistakes in books.
I'm like, some editing still needed to happen here. Yeah, some of those like. Yeah. And I am like a crazy grammatical like error person. Like I mean, where I will catch those things because. Yeah. I don't know. English was one of my strong subjects in school. I don't know. Like I've always been like a pretty good speller in general, and then like I catch grammatical errors and yeah, it does bother me when I'll catch like more than one in a book. I'm like, come on.
All right. I missed a comment about the last month of wedding.
Yeah.
I know we missed. Sometimes the comments disappear too fast.
I don't understand.
But you started it and you like it.
That's what it seemed like.
And it got you.
Saying, so.
See that book is one of those books that I think was slow. It was a slower mystery, but I thought a lot of in it was relevant.
Yeah, that's true.
There was one storyline that I thought was not answered. We're gonna get our answers hopefully from the author.
Oh yeah, I still have to send him a message.
You gotta send him a message. But I thought everything in that book was very relevant. And that book, the pace of reading it was fast.
Okay, did he give you vibes of The Fury? I have not read The Fury. I have it on my shelf.
I just asked you when you read. But you didn't like The Silent Patient, right?
Part of the reason, yes, that I have not read The Fury yet is because I am worried about the pacing of it. And I didn't absolutely love The Silent Patient.
I know I didn't.
I know, like that's probably maybe an unpopular opinion, but I have run into other people in the social media world who also did not love it. So I'm not the only one, but I know there are tons of people who did really love it.
Yeah, so you can't say the comparison to that.
Yeah,
but that book was excellent. It is very Cassie.
Well, hey, I didn't spend money on it, so that's good. I actually found that one in a Little Free Library, so I may I don't know, maybe that's going to be a book for you. You could try it out since you don't like the slow aspect as much. I mean, you don't mind the slow aspect, as much.
Yeah. That's cool. Or does anyone else have any other icks, or else we're going to move on, or any other questions? Yeah. That was good. That was good. Or if you think of more, drop them in the comments still.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah, we can always check out the comments later.
After we shut this off, I guarantee we'll each probably think of like one more.
Yeah.
Or I'm
we were
like gonna-
wait a second.
Or I'm
why
gonna
didn't I-"
gonna wake up at 2:30 in the morning and be like, oh, and I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna wake Katie up to tell her about my ick.
Please don't.
I mean,
he makes no promises. But this was a fun time. Thanks as always for tuning in.
yeah, good interaction today.
We'll be back for a shorter episode of beer and books on Friday.
Beer and
night.
books on Friday. We're gonna share our
So that's in a few
February
nights.
hopefuls.
That'll be probably what we focus on then.
Yep.
For that one.
Make sure if you want to join the book club, let us know. These are the books for the next 2 months.
Woot woot.
Woot woot.
So yeah, hope to see you guys again in a few days. Obviously, if you can't hop on Friday, we'll be back again with this next Monday.
Every Monday.
So yeah.
Come prepared.
And I know we used to say this more often, so I'll say it now. If you have any ideas or requests for like something for us to talk about specifically in an episode, we are definitely all ears for that.
And for a while, we were getting questions in the comments.
Or just if you have any questions for us.
And we would
for
answer
personal things.
We would
or,
answer those questions in the next episode.
Yeah.
So you have
Or
a question
Bookish.
for us in the comments, we could answer it on the next episode. That'd be like one of the first things we do. I know there's someone who kept asking questions.
Yeah.
Which was cool because it kind of gave us a topic to talk about.
Yeah.
But we can always just pull books off the shelf and talk about them because
Just
we
start
got.
talking about our book collection.
We still
we've
need.
got tons of them.
We still need to make our count.
Yes.
Let's try to make our count
Yes.
of our TBR.
Yes. You gotta do that.
You know, how much over 300 is it? Or is it 300?
I don't know. It's a lot.
So
I'll tell you that right now.
you gotta get that counted.
But
Yeah.
until next time,
Thank
you guys
you.
have a great rest of your night.
Happy reading.